Smackdown.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is the morning after with Nick and Big J. Welcome to Thursday, 20th day of March, 2025. My name is Nick. There's Big J right over yonder. And we are ready to go for this Thursday. Hopefully you are ready to go as well. On the docket for today, we have a Nerd Alert, courtesy of Big J. That's going to happen before you hit 7 o'clock this morning. We have a local band, Blacktooth Grin, swinging by the studios this morning, dragging their asses out of bed early to talk about their reunion show happening Saturday. How long's it been since there's been a Blacktooth Grin concert?
That seems like a question for them, but I'm going to say it's been a while. At least 5 years.
Tough to argue, right? I don't know. That's what I was asking. I thought maybe you knew. But it definitely will be a question that we broach the topic of when the band comes in later on this morning. They'll be in the 8 o'clock hour. We have tickets to give away. Amity Affliction and Anne Boleyn. Now, Anne Boleyn's in town tonight at the Treefort Music Hall, so that's going to be on our agenda for sure. We want to make sure you check that show out if you're so inclined. We also will have a round of headlines. We got We're Going to Hell. It should be a fairly busy Thursday show, Big J, I think.
Damn right.
This is what I think. I posed that particular question to you, and hopefully you're coming along for the ride. If not, we'll drag you kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
We also play music on this show. Let's get started with some of that. Some Chili Peppers right now on the Morning After with Nick and Big J on the X.
After with Nick and Big J.
Well, Big J, we are down to crunch time. If you don't have your Star card yet, you might want to think about doing it because beginning on May 7th, if you're in Idaho and you need to have a Star card if you want to travel and fly, unless you have a passport, which a lot of people do not have. So these are requirements in order to do so. And with that in mind, Big J, the Ada County Sheriff's Office decided to open up another branch, a driver's license office, if you will. Wednesday in Star, dude. How about that? That's not too far away from your house.
No, that's going to be fantastic because that's already where we go to get all of our registration and stuff. So adding the license thing, it's going to make it a lot busier there, but it's nice to have so close in that part of Candy County and Ada County.
You know what? That's almost exactly what the mayor of Star said yesterday. Trevor Chadwick had that same sentiment that you had, that he enjoys giving people that are in this area the access to something that they could already use. You know, I mean, listen, May 7th is the deadline, so you're going to need this stuff for it. So make sure you have your Star card if you want to travel after that date, unless, of course, you have your passport. But if you don't, these are the things. And I'm telling you right now, that's going to be like the headline of like the first 2 weeks after May 7th.
I couldn't get on a plane.
People are going to be pissed. Meanwhile, this is supposed to be done around, you were supposed to have a Star card at like 2021, and then the pandemic happened, and they're like, well, listen, there's a lot going on. Why don't we push it out until 2025?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if they've done a good job. I mean, do you think they've done a good job educating people about it?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, I think at the beginning they were trying,
Yes.
and then it all fell apart. And
Yeah.
people were like, what is this all about? And it's just a document that is not as easy to replicate.
You need, it's different than a driver's license. You need a bunch of different documents in order to get this particular card. It takes a little bit of time, so if you haven't done it, get on it now. But I guarantee you, come like May 8th, 9th, and 10th, we are going to have scores of pissed off people that cannot get on an airplane at the Boise airport. I promise. And it's going to be an interesting state of affairs come those couple of days. Agree or disagree, Big J?
Yeah, agree.
Hey, Big J, we got Danielle Hunter. He had a pretty good run for the Houston Texans last year. As a matter of fact, making the Pro Bowl in his first year with the team. He has agreed to a one-year, $35.6 million contract extension. Of course, last March, he signed a 2-year deal as a free agent. The Texans have added about $35 million to the back end of that original deal after his Pro Bowl debut with the team. So he came over from Minnesota and proved to be a valuable asset for that defense and helped the Texans get a playoff berth and win a playoff game. So they are happy to keep him around and putting some pressure on opposing quarterbacks, Big J. We have the next lineup for your couple of hosts of Saturday Night Live. Mikey Madison is going to be the host on March 29th.
Mikey
you know
Madison?
who that is?
No, I don't.
She recently won Best Actress at the Oscars for Aurora.
Oh, it's a lady.
Yeah, and Morgan Wallen is going to be the musical guest. Jack Black returns after 20 years. That's how long it's been since he
Damn.
hosted Saturday Night Live.
What was he schlepping the last time, I wonder?
Probably Shallow Hal. He'll be back on April 5th, and Elton John and Brandy Carlisle will be the musical guests, and then John Hamm is going to be hosting on April 12th.
Ham on a rye.
Lizzo is going to be the musical guest there, so you know what the next 3 weeks are for your upcoming Saturday Night Live as they continue to celebrate the 50th anniversary of that particular show. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your first round of important stuff. It is the X Rocks. Rage Against the Machine Bulls on parade here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Of course, tomorrow begins the first official day of spring around here in the Treasure Valley, although you wouldn't know it from the rain outside, or maybe
that is
spring showers, right?
Spring solstice, baby.
And you get yourself a little bit of, I guess, improvement in weather from the winter conditions, and then maybe you start thinking about summer vacations. Maybe you start thinking about taking an early vacation to the beach as the weather starts to get a little bit warmer.
Wait, the beaches?
Sure.
The hell are you
having
talking
some
about?
fun. I'm talking about learning about a new fear that possibly could change the way you deal with your vacation.
Dune worms in the beach?
Kind of. But here's a question for you, Big J. Digging in the sand, not something I'm sure you have done as a 48-year-old man, but maybe as a kid or running around doing some stuff. It's something that you have done from time to time when you're on a beach. Mm-hmm. Did you know that is more dangerous than swimming with sharks?
What? Wait, how?
Well,
digging on the beach?
Yes.
Making sandcastles?
Not necessarily making sandcastles.
Well, you got to dig up digging. How deep are we talking about?
Like, you know how you, like, maybe you bury yourself in sand or a friend or something like that.
Yeah,
We're
like
talking
one
about
crazy
that.
summer?
Yeah, exactly. According to a new research posted in Coastal Science magazine, which you love, Big J.
Who's subscribing to Coastal? Oh, man.
It has a warning for the millions of Americans that may want to head to the beach this summer. Don't dig too deep in the sand, because deep holes can collapse in on a person and can be extremely difficult to escape from. Research now, after studying more than 35 years of beach incidents, more people die per year by being suffocated in the sand than from shark attacks. What do you think about that, Big J?
Man, I can't wait for Beach Week on Discovery Channel instead of Shark Week.
That's not nearly as entertaining. But this is because sand is unstable and can be surprisingly heavy. So you think you may be able to dig your way out, but oh no, my friend. Researchers are trying to help, figure things out and educate people about how dangerous this can be. For safety, they recommend never digging a hole deeper than the knee height of the shortest person with you. Keep that in the back of your brain. And if somebody does get buried in sand, focus on exposing their mouth and then removing the sand from the chest, because that's what gets you. But it happens more than you think, because we talk all the time about shark attacks. Now, I think at this point we know there's not that many of them, but still, when you have more people dying from sand collapsing in on them at that beach, that means there's probably more people burying themselves in the beach or digging deep holes than you realize. And number two, it's a damn hornet's nest out there, Big J, and you got to mind your P's and Q's.
You're going to feel real dumb when that happens. And you're like, this is how I'm dying?
Yeah. Listen, I'm sure that's been a lot of people's last thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not just being buried, but like, oh my God, this is how I go? Mayday.
I thought a lot about that when we were watching the movie Mickey 17.
About the last thoughts as you die?
Yeah, I'm like, this, like, damn, this is how I'm going out.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not
I'm
great.
crushing myself with beach sand.
I thought it'd be funny to take a picture for Instagram, and now I'm suffocating on sand. What a moron. Tell my family I love them. So, yeah, think about it a couple times before you start digging super deep on the beach if you're planning a summer vacation or upcoming spring vacation towards the beach. We want you to come back. That's all we're trying to say.
Yeah.
Swim with the sharks all you want. Don't be digging holes on the beach. You might not come back. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your sand update. Coming up in a few minutes, Big J's got a nerd alert for you. It's next on the X.
The best in tech and gaming. Big J's Nerd Alert on 100.3 The X Rocks.
Yeah, and Ubisoft has done it. They've finally done it, Nick. No, not close their doors permanently with all the layoffs recently, one might speculate. No, they finally released the promised Assassin's Creed Shadows game.
No.
After being delayed numerous times, the game is out, like right now. It came out this morning at midnight. So if you have some hardcore Assassin's Creed fans and they aren't at work today, now you know why. Early reviews are calling the game beautifully spectacular, but at the same time, gameplay trapped by the same old RPG mechanics. IGN has given the game a rating of 8, which is pretty high praise from them, calling the game great. So this is taking it back to feudal Japan. Nick, I know you've played yourself some Assassin's Creed. Any thoughts on hitting this thing up?
I'm still like 3 behind. I think Valhalla is the last one that I actually played, but I really enjoyed that one. My son, however, is deeply immersed in the Assassin's Creed games and loves them very much, and also has just finished Mirage, so I'm sure he's looking forward to Shadows, and he will have to wait patiently when it's not a $70 game before he gets his hands on it.
Yeah, and what I was seeing here is that this is really leaning into the stealth and shadow part of the game. So,
his least favorite part. What a treat.
Of course, but there's going to be lots of swordplay, baby, so enjoy that. Hey, there's now an industry-wide union for video game workers in the United States and Canada. The United Video Game Workers, CWA, has a mission to bring together artists, writers, designers, QA testers, programmers, freelancers, and beyond to build worker power irrespective of studio and current job status. It's been pretty rough for those in that industry lately, and this is something they've been working at for a while. The union makes its official debut at the Video Game Labor at Crossroads, and the Game Designer Conference is taking place here this week. Workers will be sharing a petition at the event to gain support for the union and to shine a light on recent glut of industry layoffs. As a matter of fact, the first major issue the union seeks to address is layoffs, given that 1 in 10 developers were shown the door in 2024. So, man, learning to go and become a video game creator has been a tough role for a lot of those folks.
Yeah, can't wait till our favorite studio starts to try to break that up. Isn't that going to be fun?
We'll see what happens with that. Speculation that Starfield will soon be confirmed for release on the PlayStation 5 ramped up over the weekend after fans spotted a PlayStation logo on Bethesda's official creation website. The logo is attached to a work-in-progress ship decals creation for Starfield. So it's been out, of course, for PC and Xbox for some time and pretty popular. Thoughts inevitably turn to whether Bethesda plans a significant content update, possibly even a new expansion to coincide with Starfield's seemingly an inevitable release on PlayStation 5. There's been a little to shout out about when it comes to Starfield in recent months following the launch. And Bethesda parent company Microsoft is expected to hold another summer showcase this year, as it has done in recent years. And that event may be a right time and right place to learn more about all things Starfield. Bethesda itself has said the exciting things planned for Starfield this year among growing discontent for players about a lack of communication and updates. So that is something that would be pretty big. And this, of course, was supposed to be a huge exclusive for Xbox, and it was, and it went off all right. It had some issues, but there are still a bunch of people playing this game. But this was one of those things that Microsoft is like, hey, we want to make this available to everybody, so they're going to make that happen at some point here. So if you want to get into Starfield and start shipbuilding, PlayStation fans might have their chance coming up here relatively soon.
You ever mess around with that?
I haven't, no. I never really got into, aside from a couple Star Wars games here and there, never been a big sci-fi space game guy. Never got into that. So maybe one day, who knows? We will see. But
no,
you never know. That is your nerd alert.
Thank you very much, Big J. We appreciate you and the knowledge that you disperse upon our listeners and sprinkle upon us all. On the way, we got ourselves some important stuff. We also will be having some We're Going to Hell, and of course, we're going to Florida for it. So hold on, it's CX Rocks.
Here's traffic inside the TDS Fiber
Are helping you win some VIP passes to the Treefort Music Fest, which of course is happening March 26th through March 30th in downtown Boise. 5 full days of music, podcasts, comedy, all sorts of stuff. And we have got a pair of 5-day VIP passes that we are giving away. So if you want to take in the Treefort Music Fest the ultimate way and catch over 400 music artists and more over 5 days of fun, then you're going to want to head to xrock.com. There you can click on a link that you can enter to grab yourself a VIP package that includes a 5-day zipline wristband that gets you front of line access so you can see as much as possible, and official access to the Lookout Lounge. That's where you can post up at the main stage, see the biggest acts at the festival, and get a dedicated bar, a private restroom, cozy couches, live life like you're Big J, essentially. And it's pretty awesome. Be the VIP you're meant to be. Check out xrock.com to grab your VIP passes to Treefort Music Fest. Got to be over the age of 21, and you got to enter before Sunday, March 23rd. So get on in there and take advantage and check out Treefort like a real champion. Big J, have you contracted it?
Contracted what?
March Madness, of course.
No.
It begins today, and the average American is willing to bet about $120 on March Madness this particular month. The younger you are, the more you're willing to gamble. The Gen Zers are willing to part with about $200. Millennials will spend about $205. Boomers, not going to bet anything. That's you, Big J. The Talker Research poll of 2,000 American adults said that 14% base their winning brackets on hunches, 22% rely on the basketball they've watched over the years, and 10% just make their choices based on what mascot or uniform they like the best. Of course, there's lots of different contests going on and all sorts of different things happening to try to get you in, but today is the day where you've got nothing but basketball on your TV if you want to start watching it, and it'll get you all the way through tonight. Tomorrow will be more of the same thing, so these are the 2 days that the tournament leans into. Here's where you're going to have your buzzer beaters. Here's where you're going to have your exciting games. And Big J, do you think you'll watch a second of it?
Probably not.
Yeah, I know, man. What happened?
I don't know. I've never been a college basketball fan, really.
What happened about that? This is basketball in general. You don't really like that
no,
much.
no. I mean, no, college in particular.
Right.
Never.
But it's not like you have a basketball team professionally that you root for and hope to do well.
No, but I used to watch a ton of NBA basketball. A ton.
When did that phase out for you?
Probably, I want to say, I mean, I can't give you an exact time.
Because it was before I knew you. I don't think you ever watched basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, you did. But
a little bit, but it was certainly waning. I'm trying to think. Probably when, like Barkley started to retire.
97, 98?
Yeah. Maybe even in the mid 2000s. Well, early 2000s, and then I was out.
All right. What was it? What was the breaking point?
I don't know. I think I can't tell you. I got busy doing other stuff and just couldn't watch as much as I used to. And then, the game changed dramatically.
It took a while to change it, but yes, it definitely did. But it's more popular than ever. Not right now, but I mean, I think probably 2-3 years ago, peak popularity for sure.
Yeah.
For the NBA. Now I think the offseason and the drama gets more attention than the basketball itself. The reality show revolving around the NBA, I think, is more popular than the actual sport itself.
Yep.
Big J, David Draymond is a very popular lead singer for a band, Disturbed. He has a hit song called Down with the Sickness. You're familiar with it, right? What he's not down with, Big J, is mold in his rental home. That's the kind of sickness he does not want to be down with. But David Draymond is now suing his landlord over an illness he says was caused by mold in a leaky roof. That suit was filed on March 11th, and he is accusing his landlord of misrepresenting the condition of the building he moved into. He signed a lease for a $18,000 a month, 6-bedroom, 6-bathroom, 5,200 square foot waterfront house in Coral Gables, Florida, Big J. And Draymond is alleging that the actual landlord did not alert him to the leaks and mold ahead of time, and after he raised concern about it, the landlord lied when he said the leaks would be fixed. When it wasn't fixed, he moved out, and he has yet to recover his $37,000 security deposit. The suit accuses the landlord of fraudulent misrepresentation, unjust enrichment, and negligence. And David Draymond says the filing, quote, had the mold concerns, among others, resulted in impacting my singing career, my recording and studio time, and additional medical concerns, Big J.
Damn.
Let's do a quick episode of Judge Big J. Where do you rule?
I rule in favor of my brother in blood, David Draymond.
Now, a real judge would recuse himself from the case because you have a personal connection to the plaintiff.
No, I'm like one of the current judges out there.
You just
I refuse to recuse myself.
You'll do what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what personal connection you have to whatever's happening going on. No, listen, you know what? To be fair, that's the most judgy thing you've ever done.
Thank you.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your important stuff. It is the X Rock.
Stories that are incredibly f***ed up. Oh man, we're going to hell.
What the hell is this?
The Morning After with Nick and Big J on 100.3 The X Rocks.
Headed down to Florida for today's We're Going to Hell story, Big J.
Florida.
And today's We're Going to Hell story is all about 2 lessons. One lesson you'll get at the beginning of the story. The second lesson you'll figure out, I hope, by the end of the story. Lesson number 1 at the beginning. Hey, man, if you're not feeling well, go see a doctor, okay?
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of pride and embarrassment and whatever. We all know you're the toughest person in the world.
Yeah,
Nobody's
you're tough.
telling you you're not. So strong. Oh, my God. But if you're not feeling great, go get it checked out, man. Make sure everything is operating okay, because otherwise things could go sideways. And we have a story, Big J, of a 77-year-old man down in Florida who finally made his way into a Gainesville hospital in the emergency room. Said he's got a little bit of a pain in his chest. Now, doctors go, great, when did the pain start? And the gentleman says, around 2020 or so. And, yes, so it's been 5 years that this gentleman has had some pretty significant pain in his chest. And now, I should already tell you, too, this guy's medical history isn't exactly great. He's not in the best health. He was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes back in 2010. High blood pressure, high cholesterol. He had a heart failure problem. He has suffered a heart attack. He had a AICD placed inside of his heart after that heart attack. So basically, it's a defibrillator to help his heart bump, or if it stops, they got something to set this thing off. So he's not exactly in the best of health, right?
Yeah.
And so they're like, sir, you have a defibrillator in your heart. If you have chest pains, you should probably have come in as quickly as possible to make sure things are okay. We have machinery inside of you that we got to make sure is operating in all cylinders. You're like, yeah. And so they take a look around and they see what's going on, and they think that he's got some sort of infection around his implanted device, right? Something went sideways, and so there's an infection there. And then they start digging around. And they're like, man, clearly something's off. He's not okay. He's in pain. His x-rays don't look right. But we can't seem to nail down what the hell this infection is. So they start taking other routes and maybe doing other sorts of investigations to try to figure out what's happening. And so then they're like, listen, let's fire off a couple blood tests. Let's make sure we aren't missing anything, and maybe we're just kind of got tunnel vision on this infection. Blood tests come back. He has Brucella suis, Big J. Now,
Bruce Willis? What?
No, not Bruce Willis. Brucella suis. Now, that is a particular type of bacteria, and let's focus on the back end of this. Suis. Sound like anything, maybe?
Suis?
Suis?
Like wheezing the juice?
No, not like wheezing the juice. Like a pig call. Suey.
Oh, okay.
And this type of bacteria that he has is typically found in pigs. And so they're like, hey, man, you a pig farmer, work around pigs on a regular basis? And he's like, well, you know what? Not really. But I do remember, like, I'm not much of a pork fan, but I do remember back in like 2018, this hunter that I just met gave me a nice big gift of feral swine that he had killed back in 2018. And I think I might have maybe had a couple of pieces of that. And they're like, well, did you cook it? And he goes, no. I just gnawed on that thing. And they're like, well, okay, here's the deal.
I gnawed on the thing?
He ate it raw. And they're like, well, here's the deal. You definitely got this really bad, terrible bacteria from eating this feral swine. So they gave him a proper course of antibiotics. They did have to check him into the hospital, but he is now free of this bacteria. Here's the deal, Big J. There's a lot of feral swine in Florida, so people hunt them. You understand?
Yeah, I get it.
They see more than 800 cases of this particular bacteria annually, and it's only found in feral pigs. And so they're like, hey, stop eating feral pigs. They make you really, really sick, everybody.
Yeah, they're gross.
And nobody's listening to them down in Florida, and so a bunch of people are getting super sick. This was the most extreme case they've ever seen because, well, he didn't see a doctor until 5 years after he originally consumed it and started seeing symptoms. And, of course, he consumed it in 2008.
Tapeworms or what?
Yeah, he had a bunch of gut stuff going on that wasn't good, all kind of found from this feral pig. So doctors are like, hey, pork is fine. Make sure you cook it properly. Feral pig, you probably want to stay away from. So let this be, there's your second lesson, Big J. Don't eat feral pig meat.
How do you know if it's feral or not?
I believe just a simple question would do. Here's the thing. If you eat it down in Florida, it's probably feral. Stay away from it. Stay away.
Is it a package in the store? Is it feral?
I don't know. I don't think so. I believe they have to go through more
swamp people stuff
inspections than you would, you and I are familiar with to have that end up in a grocery store. So I think you're safe in that particular capacity. But, if some rando come up to you and go, hey, man, I shot a pig, probably don't eat it. All right?
Yeah.
Down in Florida.
You're not going to have to worry about me doing that.
No, I know. We're streaming everywhere. Lots of people subscribe to our app. We know there are people down in Florida that listen. So be warned. Make sure
if you're a swamp person, stop it.
Make sure you're on the right side of this one. Stay away from feral pig meat. Morning After with Nick and Big J teaching you lessons on We're Going to Hell. It is the X-Rocks.
Here's traffic.
The Beastie Boys, that is Sabotage here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. And head on a swivel, ladies and gentlemen of the Treasure Valley. Around December, things start to get a little bit more relationship-centric. It's called cuffing season, Big J. You're familiar with the term?
Yes.
Around the holidays, around the wintertime, people start to feel very lonely. They don't want to be alone for that particular time of the year. And so they find themselves somebody to be in a relationship. Even if it may not be a perfect fit, something can sometimes, Big J, be better than nothing. But if you found yourself getting in one of those situations, or you yourself were the person that initiated that situation, welcome to spring, my friend, which means uncuffing season.
Freedom!
That's right. And so the winter months are kind of finished. And so now the weather's starting to be a little bit sunnier and, a little bit warmer weather on the horizon. This is when people start to kind of look for that handcuff key and go, where the hell did I put that thing? Mm-hmm. There it is. And breakups start to happen. And so because sunshine, longer days, Big J, they make people happier. You understand? You're more social. You're more adventurous. You're liking things. You want to try new things out there. And that often means that person that was there for you in the holidays that you thought was better than nothing, suddenly you're like, oh, maybe you need to play the field a little bit. You know what I mean? Good. So you think of it like spring cleaning your house if you're in a cuffing relationship. Some people are more inclined to clean out their personal lives. And around this time of year is when it happens. So watch out for uncuffing season is what we're trying to say, Big J.
All right.
If you had somebody that you spent the holidays with and now you're like, well, maybe, I don't know, things are weird. Maybe it's time to cut them off. Or maybe you're just a terrible person, Big J. There could also be that part of the equation.
I think good chance of that.
I mean, if you're just looking to hook up for the holidays and then it starts to get nice and you're like, oh, I don't know, man. Maybe this isn't exactly what I bargained for. Then maybe it's a little time for some introspection and self-reflection and understanding why those things are something that's happening. All we know is for some reason, it's around this time of year, the beginning of spring, the solstice time, that a lot of breakups happen in relationships. And people equate it to springtime, longer days, trying to go out there and get out and try some new things and get adventurous. And so it's one of those things where you have to kind of be on your best behavior, Big J. Mind your P's and Q's. You understand me?
Yeah.
And so just something to be aware of. We're here to inform and educate and entertain, Big J. It has to be at least one of those things. You understand?
Yes, it's got to be.
And so if you find yourself in that situation, first of all, we're sorry. It sucks. You got to deal with that on your own time. It's a lot to take in. But hopefully when you're done and you felt all the feels, you can go, damn it, if Nick and Big J didn't tell me this could possibly happen. I'll be damned. I got uncuffed. Son of a bitch. Morning After with Nick and Big J. We're certainly not hoping that for you, but we are hoping you stick around because we got a big 8 o'clock hour. Important stuff. Pop Culture Smackdown, Blacktooth Grin, all popping by. It's the X-Rocks.
Important stuff.
What's going on in the news today?
The Morning After with Nick and Big J.
You're not going to believe what the University of Purdue found, Big J.
Oh, no. What'd they find?
Well, they studied social media for a while, you understand?
That's dangerous.
And they found out that being on social media can cause actual stress in real-life relationships, dude.
I told you all that.
They spent about 7 years, tracked about 10,000 different relationships and people, and found that people are way more likely to feel jealous or rejected when they see a social media friends spending time with others than themselves on their social media page. They call it digital stress, Big J, and this is a real-life negative impact that can put people can feel stress, put stress on their relationships, their friendships, kind of put together some disappointment. And if you have unmet expectations on social media, like friends don't respond or they don't engage with you as expected, or it's a pretty strong predictor of friendship conflict, and then the pressure to be constantly available is another problem as well. I better return this message. It was given to me in a certain amount of time. Otherwise, somebody's going to think I'm not paying attention or I don't care. All of these things can lead to a ridiculously high amount of stress revolving around just some social media goofy websites, Big J.
Friendship conflict?
Yeah, sure. Like, I mean, again, like you see somebody hanging out with, like you see your best friend hanging out with a bunch of person. You're like, man, I wonder if I'm not that person's best friend anymore.
What are we, in high school?
Sometimes. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are. You have friendships, right? Yeah. And you have feelings about those friendships, don't you?
Sure.
And jealousy can find its way into the relationships no matter how old you are, I think.
Nah.
Now, some people may not feel that way. You certainly don't. You're happy in doing whatever you want to do, but other people could be jealous about the certain amount of time some people spend with other people instead of them.
Look inside. It's probably your fault. Maybe get off the couch and get out of Middleton and go hang out somewhere.
Wait, who are you talking to?
About me!
Oh, okay. I'm like,
When I see you hanging out with your friends, look at me, I'm out doing stuff. I'm like, damn it!
Yeah.
I live all the way in Middleton.
I don't think you feel bad about it. I think you'd rather be on your couch than hanging out with your friends. That's what I truly do.
No,
believe.
that's not true.
In some cases, though, come on.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
but
So I don't think that impacts you per se, but people that value their relationships and friendships and want to go out and do things can have these feelings. They are real, for sure.
feelings are real.
Big J, EA Sports is upping the ante for college athletes by offering a whopping $1,500 for their participation in the upcoming College Football 26 video game.
The rich stuff.
Yeah, that's a bit of a boost. Last year, do you remember how much players got paid?
It's like 300 something?
600.
600. Oh, boy. Okay.
And so that's thanks to the massive success of this year's version. Now the 2026 version means a bigger payout for college athletes. That's about 11,000 players. About 85 per team will all get this nice little kickback from college football. Let me ask you this. If you're like a senior, are you pissed? Because like, of course this is going to be a huge deal. Yeah. Now everybody's reaping the benefits of the game that I was the first one in and I only get $600. What the hell?
Yeah, that does suck.
It does. And I'm sorry for that. But I have to give them at least some credit. I can't imagine they have to. Them doing this willingly feels like a nice little thing. Although, again, pales in comparison to the profitability of the game.
Yeah,
Let's make no mistakes
or
about it.
the NIL money that most of the guys on the team are making.
True, but nobody's turning down that $1,500 check. No. You can thank Ketchup Entertainment, Big J. I'm sure you're not familiar with what they do, but if you have watched any of the Scooby-Doo animated movies recently, you are familiar with Ketchup Entertainment. If you watched the new Looney Tunes movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up, that is currently in theaters, you know who Ketchup Entertainment is. They are a distribution rights person for the film out there, and they have purchased the rights to Coyote versus Acme, Big J. This was the big controversial film that HBO Max and Warner Brothers greenlit and actually produced and edited and made, and then decide to throw in the garbage for some reason. Well, Ketchup Entertainment is purchasing it for $50 million, so we are finally going to see this on the big screen somewhere. This has got the live-action animation kind of hybrid featuring John Cena, featuring Will Forte. Everybody's saying it's one of the funniest movies they've seen in a long time. They have no idea why it was scrapped, but Warner Brothers threw it on the trash heap, and then Ketchup Entertainment said, we'll give you $50 million for it. And they said yes, so now we're going to see this movie, and it's going to make its way into theaters.
Isn't it also all of Looney Tunes? I mean, they took everything down.
Yeah. Oh, recently, yes. Warner Brothers removed all of the classic Looney Tunes cartoons that were streaming on Max recently. Yes, that did happen. But they also finally sold this. So this is going to be one of those movies that everybody was like, will we ever see it? Now we finally will. Do not, however, expect the same results for Batgirl. That's probably dead as dead can be, even though that's just as complete, just as finished, and people have just as much buzz around it because, quite frankly, nobody involved with the DC universe wants to mess around with that timeline anymore. The Michael Keaton stuff that everybody was so excited about plays a huge part in Batgirl. That's no longer where DC wants to live, and so we'll probably never see anything about that.
Thanks for nothing, James Gunn.
Never see that. It didn't help that The Flash didn't do well. I'll put it that way, too.
It sucked.
Morning After
Michael Keaton's part was the only decent part of that movie.
Not enough to save it, though.
Well, no, I mean, but for us.
I mean, for any studio to go, I think I'll pay for that, I think, is what it boils down to. Morning After with Nick and Big J. We got your Pop Culture Smackdown. It's happening next on the X Rocks.
Pop Culture Smackdown. On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Yeah, we got a nice Morning After prize here for you this morning. Tickets to the Amity Affliction. They're going to be at the Knitting Factory tomorrow, so we'll get you hooked up with those tickets if you can beat Nick in Pop Culture Smackdown. It's, I don't know, Nick's been on a pretty good roll this week.
It's feast or famine with me. Either I can't get the first one right or I go on a run. One of the two. What will it be today? 208-287-1003. That's the number that you need to call if you would like to play a little game called Pop Culture Smackdown. Big J's got the questions. You got to hope I get one wrong, and if I do, you are the victor. Good luck to all parties involved. To the phones we go. Hello, the X.
Hey, how we doing?
We're hanging in there, man. What's your name?
Ty.
All right, Ty, you're up first. Good luck, man.
Ty,
Oh,
how many herbs and spices are in KFC's original recipe for fried chicken? Is it 7, 15, or 11?
11.
11 is correct.
Right.
Nick,
Top
true
secret.
or false, Nick? Ray Liotta once was a pitchman for KFC and appeared as the Colonel in numerous commercials.
Oh, God, man. They did so many different versions of it. I remember Jim Gaffigan. I remember Norm Macdonald. I remember, was Ray Liotta a part of it? I mean, listen, anything is possible. They went through so many of them. You say several he appeared in?
Yes, numerous commercials.
I don't remember it, but it does make sense. I'm going to say true.
It is true. And that was separate from that campaign, by the way.
It was?
Yes, it was. Totally. All right, Ty, you're up, man. Snake Plissken, played by Kurt Russell, escaped from what city originally? Was it Moscow, New York, or Toronto?
New York.
Right, escaped from New York. Nick, Kurt Russell has received only one Primetime Emmy Award nomination, and it was for playing this legendary entertainer on TV. Who was it?
Elvis.
Elvis is correct.
Right.
Ty, before hitting big in Lincoln Park, this singer was in a band from Arizona called Gray Days. Was it Randy Rhoads, Chester Bennington, or Chris Cornell?
Are you there still? I lost you for 2 seconds. What did you say?
Yeah, we're still here. Before hitting it big in Lincoln Park, this singer was in a band from Arizona called Gray Days. Was it Randy Rhoads, Chester Bennington, or Chris Cornell?
Chester Bennington.
Correct. Nick, what song is Phoebe famous for singing at the Central Perk Coffee House?
Angry Cat?
You're real close, but no.
Happy Cat? Sad Cat? What is it?
You're really close again, but
Smelly Cat.
yeah! Ty just kicked you right in the junk,
I
man.
don't watch Friends. Hey, I got the cat part right.
You did,
I'm more
you did.
happy about that than
I
anything.
think because I've asked you that question like 5 times.
I think last time we talked about her twin sister, and then you had said something about some cat, and that's the one thing that I remember.
Smell the cat.
Hey, congratulations, Ty. You earned it. Hang on 1 second. We'll get you those Amity Affliction tickets. Well played, sir. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Up next, we're checking in with Blacktooth Grin as they have a big show at the Knitting Factory this weekend. It's the X Rocks. That is Disturbed. That is their latest I Will Not Break here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Of course, if you have been around the Treasure Valley for any length of time, you are familiar with the great local music scene we have here in the Treasure Valley, and it doesn't get much better than, I'm going to go ahead and say it, local legends Blacktooth Grin, who are in our studio this morning because it is the return of Blacktooth Grin. So first of all, Good morning, y'all. Welcome to the studio.
Good morning.
Thank you all for getting up early and coming in and doing this and being a part of it. We have talked a lot about the Blacktooth Grin projects you guys have put together over the last couple of months. It's been very active in your camp. So let's take us back to the beginning. And where did the seeds start to get sprinkled? When did you guys decide, hey, maybe it's time to get the band back together and do something?
I'd say about 7 or 8 months ago. Maybe a little longer. Actually, it was July we started talking about it in 2024, and I had this harebrained idea to write a book. Like, if anybody would be interested in write a book on the 20 years of Blacktooth Grin.
Sure.
And
you were all like, you don't know how to read.
So it turned into I probably not going to write a book since I don't even enjoy reading them. But my girlfriend and her sister and I were sitting around one day, and they brought up the idea of a podcast. So I started talking to the boys, and next thing you know, we're doing a podcast. And Lou came to us, and he's like, "We're making music again."
Okay,
and that's how
it
it
was.
is.
Actually, Lou was the catalyst for sure. It was him
So
saying, I really want to do that again. And
The podcast, Music and Mayhem.
Yes.
Podcast, and now it was originally just you and Justin, and then it's kind of like everybody now. And
it's
and
all
our new
groups.
and our
It's all
new
four of
drummer
us.
Hyatt.
Yep.
Yeah, I was only supposed to be like every now and then apparently I said a few funny things, and they're like, "Oh no, you got to be on here all the time." So,
Well, we realized that the podcast is much better when there's actually funny people, not just Jeremy and I. So
we just end up staring at each other doe-eyed about halfway through, like, so what else?
They never shut up.
We've been on it. We've been on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You have. I forgot.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when we were on the podcast together, you guys were nice enough to invite us into your new jam room that you had put together. And that's kind of when you were like, hey, listen, this is a thing that's happening. We're talking about getting a show together, which happens to be Saturday night at the Knitting Factory. Is your first time on stage in how many years?
almost 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was way off
It's
then.
been,
I said 5.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it was about it'll be 3 years ago in June. So, yeah, almost 3 years.
Pretty awesome. And listen, no, not to throw you off or anything, but you guys were tight as hell when we saw you do your rehearsal. We know you are going to bring it, and it's going to sound amazing on Saturday night. There's no doubt about that. But I imagine, does it feel good being together, making music again, doing your thing?
It really does.
incredible.
Yeah. Well, and we got Hyatt on drums now, and that's just a breath of fresh air musically, as well as new blood.
Yeah.
He's new fish.
and he's a pretty all right guy.
Yeah,
He's all right
pretty all
guy.
yeah, and quite honestly, probably one of the hardest working musicians I've ever known personally.
Dude, this guy will go play like a private show on his electric kit every morning.
Every morning.
That's all. That's all
plays
due to
our
stage
set
fright.
list.
I just figure if I do everything I can to not suck, then
That's a
Don't
good-
worry, I'll suck enough for you, bud.
So and people who follow the Blacktooth Grin, the band, we call them the Family in Black. Right, that's the fans, and you have a hell of a lineup for the Family in Black for Saturday night. Why don't you
man.
run down the lineup of just the bands that are playing with you guys on Saturday at the Knit?
Yeah, so the cool thing is there's only one of the bands that we've played with before, but we've played with a lot of the musicians. But kicking off the night will be the band Cardiac Drift. After them is a band called War and Me, which it's their first live show they've played together. And then after them, we've got Black Marrow, which has Dave that used to be, for a lot of the people around from Rip Chain. Back in Blacktooth early days, they were one of the bands that we played a lot of shows with. And then Karen Comes Killing, the mighty Karen Comes Killing will be playing, and then we go on dead last.
God, it's such a great night of amazing Boise rock and metal that you guys are going to have a lot of fun taking over the Knitting Factory on Saturday night. So, not to put any pressure on you, but is this the beginning of what you guys see as many of these things coming down the road? Is Blacktooth back? You guys are doing this on the regular? Yes,
I certainly
I
hope
love
so. We've turned that fancy facility into a recording studio out there too. So we're working on some new material. Anybody's interested in hearing it, we'll make it for you. As long as you want to listen, we'll make it for you.
Well, and we were talking about this just a little bit. I hooked up with Justin at the Guitar Center a couple weeks ago, and just that, since you started the podcast, and you've been putting that out on all the places you get a podcast, but Spotify, which is where you can find the Morning After Spotify or podcasts as well. But you guys, have your music out there as well. And now that's really kind of starting to take off. And you're getting a bunch of people streaming Blacktooth Grin who probably never heard of it. And that a lot of that has to do with that. What is surprising to you guys? And how does that feel when you start to see those kind of numbers when you're getting a ton of people listening?
We quite honestly are still trying to wrap our head around it. We don't
for real.
We don't really know. It's kind of cool when you go into your Spotify account and you can see where the analytics are. You can see where your audience is from, and the number one city in the worldwide is Sao Paulo, Brazil. Mm-hmm. We have the most listeners there of any city in the world.
Shout out to Brazil.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just crazy. Like we're in the millions of streams, and we don't know. It's all organic. We literally
I keep seeing the analytics and the numbers getting bigger and bigger. And I on a 10-year-old song, like why all of a sudden? We still honestly don't know why all of a sudden, but we're certainly not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. We thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm. It's just crazy to watch. Like our song "Plastic Jesus" that has the most streams, and to watch it. I mean, each day it's kind of hard not to look at it and see, but just from each day to watch it grow, it's unreal. Unreal from where we started, before the podcast started to now. It's unreal.
And does it surprise you the songs that people are finding that they're loving?
Yes.
I mean, you mentioned that song. I'm like, that's a head scratcher. Okay.
That's what I said, man. Like when they told Van Morrison he'd won some award for Brown Eyed Girl, he was like, I mean, that's cool, but I wrote like 300 better songs.
He's like, why?
Why? That was my response. You guys were like 250,000 plays on Plastic Jesus. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why that one?
It's nuts because, I mean, that's our top song on Spotify, which, I mean, I do understand because it's a pretty radio-friendly sounding song.
Okay.
But our second highest song is a song we did called Confessions of an Aging Lothario. I don't even think we've ever played that song live.
Maybe once.
I don't even know what a Lothario
we
is.
Attempted to play it a couple weeks ago, and we're like, I don't know.
Can't remember it. We can't remember. So it's pretty wild seeing, the thousands of streams and things that are happening because it's all organic.
Yeah,
it's all organic.
It was one of the many topics we talked about when we were a guest on your podcast. The changing shift of the way people process music, the way that they actually want to listen to the things that are out there, and you just making sure that it's available to them. But it's great that people listen. And then the other thing that has also kind of come into the fold is social media since before you guys started.
Absolutely,
now that's a thing as well. So, we want people to check out the podcast. We want people to check out the music. We want people to check out the show on Saturday. Best place to get all that information in one fatal shop? Is there a website that you want people to go to? Is there a social media page?
Yeah, the Blacktooth Grin social media page would be the number one place to find what we're doing and all the info. And then we do have a Music and Mayhem social media page, but doesn't do a lot. We're not very social media dudes. Like we don't post
we're all
a lot.
Men, man. Like we're dinosaurs. Like trying to work in the old way just wasn't working. So
I love Facebook Marketplace. Like, what kind of cool used stuff can we find?
Yeah, you might be able to find stuff. But yeah, so that's the key. Search Blacktooth Grin on Spotify or whatever music streaming service you use. Find them on social media that way as well. KnittingFactory.com, a great place to grab your tickets for Saturday's show at the Knitting Factory. You're not going to want to miss it. Are you still chasing people down with tickets as well, or are they all gone?
We are out of tickets, physical tickets, but they will be selling them at the door, too, for $15.
And online. And still online on the link. It's
There's still plenty of tickets if you want to get some.
If there's any difficulty.
Online, is that $12 online?
Until the day of the show, I believe, and then it's $15 the day of the show.
And we've got a couple more giveaways here. 2 bad impressions coming up in a little bit today, and then tomorrow. But you're gonna get a great show at the Knit for Saturday night. It's gonna be awesome, and I'm gonna be there, man.
Yeah,
all right. We look forward to it.
I don't tell many people that.
Yeah, it's special. You get Big J out of the house. It's a big deal.
You should announce us then. Before we come out on
stage.
Sure.
Great. Absolutely.
This way we know you stick around.
And I won't throw up.
Shot a fireball.
We were talking yesterday about that time at Rock the Mountain that I threw up on stage.
You did good, though.
Right.
Legendary.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we were laughing about the fact we showed up with energy drinks and we weren't, half drunk on Pabst Blue Ribbon already this morning. I mean, we're like Jeremy said, we're
There's
old
nothing
men.
in my Red Bull.
Yeah, we wait till noon to drink now.
Nice. Thank you. Very professional, guys. We appreciate it. Hi, Jeremy, Justin, Lou. Thank you guys so much for coming in and being part of the
you for
show.
having us.
Blacktooth
Yeah,
Grin,
thank you.
Saturday night, first performance in 3 years at the Knitting Factory. You're not going to want to miss it. Best of luck, boys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, bro.
Morning after with Nick and Big J. Inflation domination on the way and some headlines on the X.
It's like your daily update of really stupid stuff. It's time for headlines on the morning after with Nick and Big J.
Headlines are as follows, Big J. Another bump? You fraud. And pay for that.
You fraud.
Director Carl Rich. Have you ever heard of him, Big J?
No.
Well, he is facing 90 years in prison because he has defrauded one of America's most valued streaming networks, Netflix. Apparently out of $11 million. See, back in 2018 and 2019, Netflix reportedly paid this gentleman $44 million for a show called Conquest about artificial humans. And then in March of 2020, he was given an additional $11 million due to his claims that the amount was not sufficient to finish the product. However, prosecutors claim that Rich used that additional money to speculate on cryptocurrency, and he lost his ass on it, Big J. And could not, and then, didn't deliver the show either. So he faces charges of wire fraud, money laundering, and a bunch of other charges, Big J. So don't be messing around with Netflix's money. You understand me?
Yeah, I mean, what an idiot. They're just handing it out. Like, I'm sure you're probably doing pretty good with the movie. Just finish the project, man.
Whatever it was. I mean, I hadn't heard of it, so I don't know what it is, but it's amazing to me. I mean, listen, they're not complaining about the original $44 million they gave this guy for the show. They're complaining about the $11 million additional that he sunk in crypto and then lost. Now, I understand why they would be upset at that. I'm sure in his mind, he's like, they're going to give me $11 million. I'm going to invest in this crypto. I'm going to make bank. I'll take out the $11 million, finish the product, and then keep the profits.
Yeah.
But that's not how we're also like, I mean, I don't understand exactly how movie making works, or show making for that matter, but I would think it's a more complicated process than writing the director of whatever you've hired him to write a check for $11 million. One would think if you're Netflix, you have part of the company that would organize that and write checks as necessary, not just one big bulk number. You know what I mean?
No kidding.
But hey, listen, man, you do business how you want to do business. Another bump or pay for that?
Pay for that.
A Florida man who's obviously into some weird food combinations got himself arrested after he treated a public supermarket like an all-you-can-eat buffet. 54-year-old Leonard Harris entered the store in the Villages shopping complex on a motorized scooter. So far, cool. He started cruising the aisles in the Publix grocery store, just picking out different shrimps and putting them in his mouth, and then picking out Snickers bars, putting them in his mouth, and he didn't pay for either of those two things. I can't imagine that flavor combination is good. Employees followed him, ultimately stopped him when he tried to ride past the checkout and out of the store. Publix says he helped himself to about $45 worth of food in shrimp and in Snickers. Police came and arrested him for petty theft, Big J. Can't do that. Gotta pay for what you do and what you eat.
Pay for this.
Are you somebody that will pick out a product and then eat or drink it as you peruse through the grocery store?
No.
Never been that person?
No.
You sounded offended when I asked you.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Well, if you're paying for it, I don't think there's a problem.
Yeah, no, you should wait until you're at checkout.
Lots of people do that. They'll pick up some grapes and they'll start shoving them in their mouth before they get there, or they'll grab a soda and then they'll pay for the soda at checkout.
No.
But not you, Big J, huh?
Nope.
You don't. That food's not yours until you
I
left the store and
follow
paid
the
for
rules.
it. Well, I mean, I think the rule is pay for what you take. And as long as you do that, you're okay. I don't think you're breaking any rules. Just pay for it.
It's uncouth.
You may be fudging it a little bit if you start like eating some grapes, because you're supposed to pay by the weight of them. Then I feel like maybe there's that line that you're talking about. But like if there's a soda that you drink or some water that you're drinking as you go through the supermarket, as long as you pay for it, I think I'm okay with that. But don't eat a bunch of shrimp and candy bars and then not pay for it. That's A, gross, and B, not cool. Wrap it up with another bump. Big J pilot Mike Beaton is now flying for another airline after he was fired from British Airlines for his party behavior. Back in 2003, Beaton was found to have done a bunch of cocaine off a woman's bare chest hours before flying from Johannesburg to London. The pilot has been hired now by another company, this one that moves cargo instead of people. But there are a lot of people that think it's pretty bad that he gets allowed to fly planes again after what he did, Big J. The CAA, which is the people that license pilots over there in England, refused to comment on the case specifically because they don't talk about the private situations of their pilots. But it does seem a little bit weird how quickly they're able to go back in. But maybe, hey, listen, he's cleaned up his act, he's passed some drug tests, and he's good to go, right? Shouldn't everybody be allowed to do cocaine again?
Shouldn't they be allowed to do it again?
Yeah. Once they've done it, a second chance at it, you know what I mean?
Not really.
Oh.
No.
All right. Well, we'll agree to disagree.
Okay.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your headlines. You're up to date on pretty much everything. We've got some bad impressions. They're next on the X Rocks.
I'm not impressed.
On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
And bad impressions. We got a great Morning After prize package. We're going to get you tickets to the Amity Affliction. They'll be at the Knitting Factory tomorrow night. And then just a little bit ago, we had the amazing local guys and Blacktooth Grin in here. They are taking off, and they're going to have a hell of a show on Saturday night at the Knit with Black Marrow. You've got Karen Comes Killing. You've got Cardiac Drift and A War on Me. So we'll get you set up with all of that if you can figure out bad impressions here today. Should be fairly easy.
208-287-1003 is the number you need to call if you'd like to cash this in. Of course, all you need to do is figure out Big J's bad impression. He's got 3 clues. They all revolve around somebody pretty famous. Figure out who it is, and boom, these tickets are yours. Let's go to the phones. Hello, the X.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man? What's your name?
Marshall.
All right, Marshall, you're up first. Good
Marshall,
luck.
not a person, but a famous movie, okay?
Okay.
Spielberg wanted M&Ms in the movie, but Mars wanted to see the script first. So that's how Reese's Pieces ended up in the movie.
Oh, I need another clue.
Phone home. Phone home.
Well, I want to say E.T.
It is E.T.
Nailed it. Good job. Hang on one second. Now, arguably, E.T. also a person. You could have said it was a person. I mean, it's a thing,
I guess.
What was clue 3?
Every kid wanted a bicycle that could fly after the movie came out.
And only I had one. Why is E.T. in the news?
The original screen used a... by the way, I'm sorry. The original E.T. model, the actual model of E.T.,
okay,
the extraterrestrial,
yeah,
is going up for auction at Sotheby's. And it, along with other items from the special effects artist, Carlo Rambadali, who is having his stuff going up for there. So this model valued at $600,000 to $900,000. It's the headlighting item along with rare sketches, animatronic studies, and 2 screens used sandworms from the original Dune set. So there's all kinds of stuff happening here, but that movie has been, of course, came out in 1982. So it's old, man. That model is old. Dick, when's the last time you saw E.T.?
I revisited it with the kids probably 15 years ago or so.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
But, and that was back when Spielberg edited out all the guns and made them walkie-talkies, remember? When he did, because he wanted to make them more family-friendly. But does it look good? Have you seen a picture of it?
I haven't seen a picture of it.
Because if you look at the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles costumes, they're all rotted to hell because that material degrades over time. And I don't know what E.T. was originally made of, but I wonder how that material holds up. But you in the market for it, pal?
No, I'm not. I would spend my $900,000 in a much better way.
You would hope. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your bad impressions. We'll wrap up the show here next on the X.
Kenny and Ashley here.
More I Prevail teaming up there. House on Sand wrapping up the Morning After with Nick and Big J on this Thursday. It was busy and we're not upset about it. Special thank you to the guys in Blacktooth Grin for popping by and talking about their big show happening Saturday evening at the Knitting Factory Concert House. We cannot advise you enough to grab tickets to that show. It's going to be great. A bunch of great local awesome bands playing, and Blacktooth Grin on a stage for the first time in 3 years. You're not going to want to miss it. Knittingfactory.com is where you can get your tickets, or you can continue listening to us. We have one more pair to give away tomorrow as well, which we will do. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you think I should get a hotel room downtown?
I don't know.
Saturday night, maybe?
I mean, when was the last time you did that?
Never.
Well, that's not true. You and the wife had done that a couple times.
Yeah. I mean, but it's been a while. She's got to work. So
do you
she
think
can't go.
Well, I mean, if you can't drink responsibly, then yes, of course you should. But I can't be the judge of whether or not you should get a hotel.
All right. Well, just Do
you feel like you're going to get so? Well, you don't drink anymore. What do you? You just don't want to
Here's
drive.
The thing,
you want to stay for the show.
If I start though, yes, it's a little bit of both, right? But it's like Blacktooth Grin drinking there's no in between. It's like there's yes or there's no.
You're not wrong. Maybe you should. Maybe you should get a hotel. As a matter of fact, everybody listening to this, get a hotel in downtown Boise.
Downtown Boise Association, come on back.
And get a great time at the Knitting Factory on Saturday night. Also talked about why you shouldn't eat feral pigs and why you should look out for uncuffing season on the show. It was a busy one, but that leaves you with the floor, Big J.
Today is National, obviously with being spring, this goes hand in hand, National Ravioli Day.
Unbelievable. I can't believe. What do you want to talk about National Ravioli Day?
I don't know. Just, I guess I jumped what I wanted to talk about.
What did you want to talk? Oh, getting a hotel?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to use this time to wish Jason Drew a happy birthday.
Crap,
What a
that's right.
spit in the face.
It seems like it's been the week of Jason Drew here on the morning after, right? So happy birthday, Jason Drew. He is 35.
And looks
youngest
great.
one around here.
Happy birthday, Jason Drew. We appreciate everything
all
that you do.
we've been doing is talking about presents that we're not actually going to buy for you.
Oh, we might when they're available, but they're not available right now. So you'll have to take these
I
wishes.
owe you. I'm going to send him a picture and an email.
Maybe a written apology that you'd rather talk about Ravioli Day than Jason Drew's birthday would also be appropriate. That's it for us. A reminder that if you were looking for a brand new or used car, maybe check out T Mazda in the pre-owned superstore. Great website, gotmazda.com. The iPrecheck button is there, and you can take a look at things without affecting your credit. You know exactly what you're qualified for before you step foot on the lot. It is a wonderful tool, and it is available for you at gotmazda.com. That is it for us. The birthday boy is up next. We'll see you tomorrow at CX Rocks.
March